What's up, guys? Welcome back to Talkin' Hawkins, the penultimate episode of the series. My name is Kyle. Thanks for checking out our Stranger Things in review, guys. I'm going to go over my thoughts on the episode. A Hawkins hero, which is my favorite character, a mouth breather, my least favorite character, and a score out of 10. Appreciate it, guys. Let's go. Gotta be honest, this season is trash. The season is trash. There's just a lot of things that are not impactful and don't matter, and the writing is just atrocious. Guys, I'm just gonna jump right to the end here. The whole scene where Will is like, guys, everybody needs to know this Vecna is in my mind, and I don't want to lose you guys. I'm gay. And we're like, we know, Will. Everyone's figured that out already, dude. And it's like the Duffer Brothers were like, we've seen what the internet said. Got to make sure we confirm. Oh, yep. He's like, I had a crush on someone, but they were just my Tammy. And it's like, oh, okay. So the Duffer Brothers had to be like, yep, he had a crush on Mike, but Mike doesn't give a fuck. So it's like, it's just, it was so stupid that it's like, Vecna is trying to merge the planets or something, and it's like there's this world-ending threat, and Will is like, guys, I just need you to know that I have to come out as gay, and it's like no one. There was never a conflict of interest, and there was never anything. And there's also been scenes in the past seasons where they're like, hey, well, why didn't you spend more time chasing girls or whatever? That was like season 2 or whatever. But they were kids, they were growing up, and it's like all they had to do was Will had to be like, hey, I want to say something. And then Mike should have been like, it's okay. We don't care. We don't care if you're different. We love you just the way you are. Whatever. You know what I mean? But I was just like, man, they really had to say it. Like they had to drag it out. And I was just like, oh my God, dude. And I don't mean that in any sort of a homophobic way or anything like that. That's great for Noah Schnapp. But it's like they were so heavy-handed, and like there were so many scenes throughout the season. So like we know Will's gay. It doesn't matter. Who cares, dude? We're talking about mind powers and flying up through a wormhole vortex, and it's like, guys, everyone needs to know that Will is gay. Who cares, dude? Like this season is trash. Why is 8 here? 8 has been so annoying, and it's like she was so cool with the long hair before, and she was like an independent, she was badass, and I know she's been like tortured and stuff, but like 8 doesn't need to be involved at all. And what's up with Delightful Derek, guys? I thought Delightful Derek was on our side. I thought he was our spy, and maybe he's got something cooked up, but Holly goes back there and she's like, guys, Max showed me everything. Like, Henry's a liar. We have to get out. And they're like, no. And then it's like this children cult. And then she's like, tell them, Derek. And Derek like takes a minute. And I was like, oh, this is his moment. And he's like, no, Max is a liar. And I'm like, is Derek under the control? Is he waiting? I don't understand. They bring the clock back. You know, he's like, it's time. And the kids' heads all snap back. And they bring the clock back. And I'm like, there's the clock. And it's like there's no fucking build up, dude. They have this scene, they make a dick joke, but it wasn't even funny. Like Robin says like, "Oh, it's too big for Harrington, but he keeps going in or something." And they just say like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" Like it wasn't even it wasn't funny. And I'm like, "Guys, what do we do? This show has reminded me a lot now, guys. I don't think the last season of Game of Thrones is nearly as bad as people say. But this is so much worse, where it's like this is a horrendously written final season. This is such a forgettable season. And I'm like, we have 2 hours left in the series. They didn't kill anybody yet. You got to think there's going to be at least one or two deaths. But then Max is back now, and like it was weird for me to start the episode, and it's like this emotional thing with Max. But they were playing kind of like the Locked Away song. It's a great song. But I thought that was kind of weird. Max is just fine, and she's like, I can't really feel much, but then she's just like, oh, actually, it's just my legs, and then they just push her around in a wheelchair. And I'm like, is Max gonna have powers? Like, why? It's just very weird. Holly falls. It looks like she's gonna fall to her death. She just somehow happens to be right where Nancy is. Guys, for the Upside Down, it's like for such a vast, mysterious thing, it seems like, oh well, it's right above this, and we go to Hawkins like it's right above this. And I don't give a shit about any of the government people, especially this woman that's like, this is all your fault. The blood's on your hands because this girl's doing everything. And I'm like, oh my God, she's clueless. And even 8 is like, they're doing Papa's research and she just replaced Papa and blah, blah. But at least Papa was awesome. And that was mysterious. And it felt like they were doing things. It felt like they were opening the gate up because they had like an idea of something. These people have no clue what's going on. The gate ripped open and they just put these plates over it. And they didn't even secure it, and they don't even have security at the thing. Elle just rips one open. She scrambles to one camera and takes it open. And I'm just like, this season sucks, guys. This season fucking sucks. And I'm like, I'm kind of mad, right? I'm kind of mad at how heavy-handed it's been and how it's kind of treating the audience like they're dumb. And I don't know, man. It just there's so many moments where I'm just like, this is dumb. We finally get at least a nice moment with Steve and Dustin where he's like, hey, it's not okay. I miss my best friend. And I was like, okay, that's sweet. But then Nancy, even Nancy, dude, she's like, "Oh, don't worry, I don't love Steve." And then they got out. They Jonathan and Nancy are saved from Steve and Dustin, and they go out. And then she looks at Steve Harrington, and I'm like, "Dude, she wants to make out with Joe Keery right there. Like, you can't tell me she's not staring him down. Like, you're telling me you're not in love with Steve, and he's in love with you. But then when you look at him, and you guys have already hooked up, and you guys were already in love or liked each other in the beginning." And now suddenly you kind of settle things with Jonathan, which was kind of like, what was the point of that whole arc? And then now Steve is in love with you, and you're like, oh, I don't like Steve. And then you stare at him all the time. It's just like, there are a lot of choices and a lot of things, and a lot of characters are just here to be here. And it just feels like they threw everyone in to the room. Like, even when they're explaining the thing, it's like weirdly sexual. Like they were like, it feels like a sixth grader wrote this script. Like when even when Steve is doing the thing, I mean, it clearly looks like he's jerking a dick off. And it's like he's like, oh, the magic bean comes up and the camera goes down and they're, they mention like the butthole thing or whatever. I'm like, dude, this feels like a middle schooler wrote this humor. And so I'm seeing the cracks, and it's one thing when these kids are growing up, and I was thinking about this, guys, and I think season one, it was so magical because the score was amazing, and the kids were so genuine, and they had a great connection. Now that they're older, I think you're starting to see some of the things that like there's not the best actors in this show, and now that they're not kids anymore, it's kind of the shine has come off, and it's taken so damn long to finish the show, and it's like they should have just made 4 or 5 seasons back to back when they were younger, and they should have just filmed it all and then had an awesome story. And Vecna is awesome, but even then, it's like he's just chilling, dude. And it's like, why is like his plan is to have these 12 kids who apparently have powers, which we haven't seen them use any of it. So like we're going into the finale, and these kids have never done anything. Are you telling me Delightful Derek has powers like Elle? That doesn't even make sense. Also, Elle is still weak. She can barely move a truck over. That was like season 2 or season 3, dude. Like I'm mad at this final season, guys. What happened to the show I loved? Season 1 was amazing. Season 2 pretty good. I even like season 3. 4, I loved Vecna. Season 4 of Vecna was so creepy, dude. Like when he was killing people and they were getting their necks snapped and stuff. So we get a little tease of that where the kid's neck snap back. Guys, if something happens to Delightful Derek, we will riot. But I'm just like, this fucking sucks, dude. I'm so disgusted with how this series has gone. This is the final season, and this is what you're giving us, dude. It's I don't know. I kind of hated this episode, and I've kind of for the most part hated the season, honestly. And I just we could have had better. Okay, guys, my Hawkins hero for this one. Am I dreaming, or is that you, Harrington? I gotta go with my boy Joe Keery, dude. He realizes his faults. He says, Dustin, especially knowing that they might die. Dude, also, guys, I didn't mention they have the one line where he says, "You die, I die," and I'm like, "Oh, they're gonna die in some sort of like Deadpool Wolverine spoilers guys way where they're holding together." I mean, they didn't die in that movie, but something is gonna happen where they're gonna need a la like at season 2 when Hopper should have died when Joyce is gonna turn the two keys. Something like that is gonna happen where the only way that they can save it is Dustin and Steve are going to have to sacrifice, or Steve's going to have to sacrifice, or something. But when they said "you die, I die," oh my God, dude! It's Steve and Dustin are going to die. Honestly, probably just Steve because that would be more impactful. But something's going to happen in the finale. But Steve Harrington, man, what a great character! The only one of the only characters I feel like that has stayed true the entire series, where it's like he was a little bit of a jerk in the beginning when he was dating Nancy, but he was still super charismatic, dude. I mean, guys, go look at Joe Keery making out with Natalia Dyer at the lockers. I mean, tell me that's not chemistry right there, right? I can't believe that they're not dating real life. And guys, maybe this season is actually should mimic real life because she's breaking up with Jonathan in the show, and now she's looking at Joe Keery, and I'm like, can you blame her? Can you blame her? Also, we need to play End of Beginning. End of Beginning needs to be played at the finale. Okay, that's Joe Keery's song. It's a great song. That's got to be how the series ends. But Joe Keery as Steve Harrington. phenomenal. Apologizes to Dustin, recognizes his own faults, his own shortcomings. He's awesome. He's an action hero. He's funny. He's great. Steve Harrington is my Hawkins hero, my favorite character for this one. Okay, guys, my mouth breather, it pains me to say this, but it's Delightful Derek. I don't want to say he's dipshit Derek in this episode, but guys, my boy Delightful Derek, he let me down, right? Holly turns to him, and maybe he's got something cooked up, but I don't think so because I think Vecna's got control of him now. Holly turns to him and she's like, "Come on, Derek, tell them." And I was like, "Here we go, dude. This is Delightful Derek's chance to be the hero. He helps the kids escape or whatever." And instead, he's just like, "No." And that maybe Vecna got to him already, or maybe he's afraid to do the right thing. But I was like, we've had this great growth from Delightful Derek, and he's been delightful. And it's like even Holly, she's like, "You were dipshit Derek," and now she needs him. I thought she would say something like, I guess you always were dipshit, Derek." And it's like, this is your moment, dude, to redeem yourself with Holly. So let me down. Delightful Derek has been delightful. We love Delightful Derek. But in this episode, guys, he's my least favorite character. Okay, guys, that brings us to the score. This is a 5-4. Like I said, guys, this episode pissed me off because you can have one or two bad episodes, right, in this season. But for a final season, right? It's building, it's building. I'm like, all right, one or two bad episodes, that's cool. But now that we're on the finale and there's 2 hours left in this series, and I'm like, we got all the characters. Even if you kill people off in the finale, it doesn't feel earned. You gotta have one impactful death. They got Mr. Clark here, and he just goes in the upside down and it's fun, but he's like not really freaking out. He's just like, "Oh, we're going in there, we're going in there." And like he's looking around, but I was like, dude, it's his first time in the upside down. And that was kind it's like they're just kind of shoehorning characters in. Hey, remember this character? Like, why is Erica still hanging out? Erica's kind of hanging out now. It's like, I mean, I know she was part of the group before, but it's not the same one where she's super sassy all the time. Like, again, when the humor is coming in, it's just immature dick jokes. And like, it's just, this season just is not working for me. And it's a huge letdown. And the good thing is, guys, now that I'm caught up for a few days until the finale, I can go on the internet again and I can look at people's reactions and see because I was like, I gotta binge these because I can't go on the internet and see something. But we haven't had anything impactful happen this season, guys. This is now 7 episodes, and each one is about an hour long, if not longer. And what's happened, really? Max came out of her coma, but Holly is still in there, and the kids are in the mine prison with Vecna. We kind of learned why Vecna won't go in the cave because he's afraid of the guy that he murdered, I guess. But even that wasn't super rewarding. Like that's why he's staying out of the cave. Why is the cave still in there? I guess it's part of his memories. Maybe he can't get rid of it. But Vecna and they sidelined Will a little bit, and it was cool when they were like, "Hey, Will built the tunnels." The Mind Flayer or Vecna, I guess, was controlling them. But now it's like, isn't the Mind Flayer in there? The Mind Flayer and Vecna are separate, but it's like now we're pushing that to the finale. Are you gonna fight the Mind Flayer? Are you gonna fight Vecna? There's too many things that like you had 7 hours to dive into all this crazy stuff, and I feel like we've gotten almost nothing. And it's like I'm just annoyed that this is where we're at going into the finale. So the show is okay, but it's losing steam, and it could have been an all-time show. And I think season one is an all-time season. But I think everything after that, it like we're losing the mystery and we're losing the writing, and I don't know, man. I'm just disappointed in this episode and this season overall. All right, guys. Well, now there was one, the finale. Are you gonna go to the theater to see it? I'm certainly not, dude, because I have zero hype for the finale. Will I tune in? Will I be emotional? I guess there's gonna be a couple of there's going to be at least one emotional death probably, but then if you have too many, then it's like, okay, well, Steve's going to die and Dustin's going to die, and are you going to kill Nate? Like you can't kill everyone. You're going to have at least one. But now it's like you can't really throw it in the finale. That's why you're going to have an episode or two episodes before. Usually the penultimate episode is the one where you do the big swing, but I don't know, man. We're going to the finale. We'll sit down for 2 hours. I'll review it, guys, and then we'll be done with the series. But the show just could have been so much more, and so. I hope we have a good ending. I don't have a ton of confidence that it's going to be satisfying. They're apparently going to fly out there, fight Vecna, drop a bomb. Elle and 8 are maybe going to disappear forever. I don't know. Is Will going to save the day now that he's got powers? I hope we get a scene where Will's fighting and 8's fighting and 11's fighting, and then they equal 20 or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. So I appreciate you guys checking out Talkin' Hawkins, our Stranger Things review. We will be back for one more episode, the series finale. Appreciate you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, guys. Peace.